Annapolis. I was the platoon leader of the 1st Platoon in Vietnam.
My name is Oscar Bruno. I was medic.
Daryl Holder, Hope, Indiana.
Hometown boys who had grown up together.
Staff Sergeant John Ellis, Anderson, Indiana.
Gary Porter, from Anderson, Indiana.
William Hayes, Indianapolis, Indiana.
They joined Company D of the Indiana Army National Guard for one reason. They didn't want to be drafted.
Did most of you think when you signed up for this Guard unit that it meant that you wouldn't go?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
But they went, and they made history as Army Rangers, the toughest of the tough, the only Army Reserve Combat Infantry company to serve in Vietnam. Some 200 strong, most of them Hoosiers. Former Sergeant John Ellis.
You got to understand, we was a family going, and we didn't want to be split up and thrown in other units because we looked after each other. We took care of each other.
They are still a family.
This is incredible.
Let us revere them as good soldiers who fought the good fight.
And as they gathered in Morristown, Indiana, to commemorate the death of one of their comrades killed in action,
He was a great soldier, a great friend, and I know all of us miss him.
we realized that theirs is a story about all of us and the Vietnam War, where nothing seemed to turn out the way it was supposed to. For starters, these men were told their mission would be reconnaissance.
But what happened?
Well, we found out that the mission had changed, that we were to set up ambushes and to eliminate the enemy. That was our mission.
So the baby-faced soldiers in these grainy home movies became jungle warriors. They ended up spending almost a year, in 1968 and 69, fighting the Viet Cong during the height of the U.S. military involvement.
That's us. That's us. That's our movie screen.
As these training films of Company D show, they went out in 6-man teams from their base in Long Binh, dropped off by helicopter behind enemy lines. 5-day missions where they hid in the jungle and learned how to set booby traps with Claymore mines.
If it's an ambush mission, then you go up on the trail and put some claymores out.
Former Sergeant Jim Bohannon, who's now an airline pilot.
When we first got there, we'd set them on the ground, that sort of thing. But after we got experience, we'd wire them up so you couldn't roll over on them at nighttime.
And then came the shooting. The first minute was the most important.
When you fire, you are in a situation where you've got to be the ones to
kill.
You want to take them. You don't want them mowing you down and moving toward you. You want to hit them and knock them down and create shock on them and try to get them moving back.
Was that first contact, was that the scariest part of it?
That was
Like losing your virginity.
Yeah.
I thought it was a John Wayne movie.
Literally.
But behind the bravado are stories of real heroism.
One of the first things that happened was they threw a grenade and it lit right.
Daryl Holder threw his body on a hand grenade.
And there was a guy right in front of me and a guy right behind me. And the grenade came in and there was nothing to do but just to cover it, to try to, because otherwise we were all
To
going
keep
to
your
get
other
hit.
friends from getting
We were all
it.
going to get hit, so we just covered it the best I could. And
There you are with your gun.
Gary Porter learned how to mask the terror that swept over him at the end of each mission.
Every muscle and fiber inside my body would start to shake, and my fear was those other guys would see me shaking.
Did you ever talk to the other guys while you were there about being scared?
Oh no,
People didn't talk about that.
no. Talked about being scared, you didn't go out no more.
Mostly.
Jim Rose just happened to have a copy of The Charge of the Light Brigade out on one mission.
If you look at it closely, you can see there's a round through the book where the enemy shot a round through the book when it was in my pants pocket. But I didn't realize that the rounds had come so close to me.
Why'd you save that all these years?
Just a reminder, sometimes a guy's lucky.
They were lucky, but they were also good. By the time it was over, the men of Company D had been on 947 missions, killed at least 100 enemy soldiers, and lost only 4 of their own in combat. They became one of the most highly decorated units in the war, winning 538 medals.
But after all the combat in Vietnam, after all the days and nights of putting their lives on the line, what the men of Company D never expected was that coming home would be so hard.
Medic Oscar Bruno.
I was shocked, totally shocked. My best friend shunned me.
There was about 4 or 5 of us coming home together, flew into Chicago. There was a bunch of war protesters in Chicago.
After the war, Gary Porter got his master's in counseling so he could help vets like himself.
Our parents had been indoctrinated or just enmeshed with all these TV things about what American soldiers were doing in Vietnam, that we were killing babies and we were burning villages. And I think our parents didn't ask us what we did because I think they were afraid we would say we were one of those. My father died about 2 or 3 years ago, and the day he died, he never knew what I did in Vietnam. He never asked me, and I never told him.
So every day I think something about Vietnam, and I have problems every night over it.
John Ellis is now retired from a factory job.
It's an experience I think that a lot of people should never ever have to see.
Did you gain anything from it?
Yes, I gained a lot of ill feelings and everything towards probably the government at times. I've had a lot of ill feelings towards other people that weren't veterans. I've had a lot of problems sleeping. I have a lot of problems, but I'm all here bodily, but my mind is not. I don't believe my mind is here. Anytime I think any man, don't matter what war, whether it be from the Stone Age to whenever, war's hell.
That's a picture of me in Vietnam. I was getting ready to go on a mission.
And for Jim Johnson, the college-educated platoon lieutenant, there was the realization that by 1975, the political decisions that had sent him and the other members of Company D into battle had been reversed.
Initially, I was extremely upset when I saw us. I saw the helicopters being pushed off the sides of ships. I saw us actually leaving the country. By the same token, it was time to do something. We could not continue to expand. I mean, the war had to have some sort of an end.
Do you feel now, in retrospect, that what you and your unit did was in vain?
We were soldiers. We did what we were supposed to do, and we did it to the best of our ability. Do I feel like the Vietnam War was a mistake? Yes, I do.
Our Heavenly Father, we deem this a fitting time to pay our respects to our departed comrades.
But 25 years after the war, the bonds of Company D have never been broken.
This is the man that picked me up and carried me out.
Their story is our story.